Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I am joined by the beautiful Bree. Bree, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I am doing so well. I'm glad that we were finally able to make this happen. Um, I want to talk a little bit about you first before we actually get into the reason why we are here. Bree is a horror fan as well as a cosplayer. She's been cosplaying for about 3 years now, and that's what actually got her and I going on this. I saw her in some Chucky cosplay, and I was like, yes, this has to happen right away as soon as possible. But she also has a bachelor's degree in criminal education. Now, before we get into that, because that's fucking dope, what made you want to start doing cosplay? Like, what kind of guided you in that direction to make that something you wanted to start doing?
I actually had wanted to do it for a while, but I was afraid, people would judge me for that.
Mhm.
And, one day I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy some costumes, which I did, and then, tried to be as creative as possible. And then I made the Instagram to post them, and then turns out there's this whole world of other people just like me. So,
Mhm. See, and that's what I love about it. Like, there is that initial fear, and you're always going to have the gatekeeping douchebags. Unfortunately, we can't get rid of all of them, no matter how hard we try. But I feel like this community is a whole lot more accepting than it is judgmental, and I feel like we can really be ourselves and be who we want in this community. And you're killing it. Like I said, you're doing different cosplays all the time, and it's not just horror either, which I think is super dope. Like, you've done Legend of Zelda. I think you've done Power Rangers. Like, you've done a bunch of different things, and I think that's amazing. Do you have any coming up here in the near future? And have you ever thought about maybe going to cons and cosplaying at cons?
I do it at cons. Not like I don't go out all the time, but I do have a couple plans. I'm just trying to get around to doing that right now.
Well, I mean, and you all, like I said, you have a bachelor's degree in criminal education or criminal justice. Now, holy shit, that's incredible. Is that something that you're still pursuing now?
No, I actually graduated in August, so I'm just taking it slow right now with work, and then hopefully next year we find something in the field. So
Right. Well, congratulations on graduating. I graduated third grade once, and it was the hardest 3 years of my life. So I definitely understand how hard it can be to graduate. So, well, another thing I wanted to talk about when it would be in a cosplayer, sometimes um, it's hard to get your stuff out there to a bigger audience. Well, for all of you that are watching, you don't have to go very far to find all of her links because all of Bree's social media links are down here in the description. So make sure that you are following her so you can stay up to date on all of the new cosplays that she's doing and anything else that she may start doing in the future video wise. So is that something you've thought of maybe doing like a YouTube channel or something like that, like TikTok, stuff like that, where you can do different videos and stuff?
I actually just made a TikTok. There are a lot of people who want me to do YouTube. I just don't know if I'm ready for that because the way that I do things is like simple, and I feel like it would disappoint people if they knew. So
Well, the big thing is, it's all about when you're comfortable. When you're comfortable and you're ready, I'll be willing to promote anything that you're doing. So until that day, though, you can follow her links down here in the description. So when she is ready, you'll be one of the first ones to know. So, Bree, in order for you to be cosplaying in any type of horror realm, horror had to start for you somewhere. So here for a little bit, I would like to
yes,
go back to the past and talk about what got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie, and Bree, the first horror movie you watched was.
Child's Play 2.
What an amazing movie. Anybody that knows me knows Child's Play is my favorite horror franchise of all time. I dressed for the occasion today. Um, I think that it's the most consistent, great horror franchise out there. I just don't feel like there's really a bad egg in the bunch. Um, do you remember about how old you were the first time you had seen Child's Play 2?
Oof, I feel so old because I do not remember. I don't even remember when that movie came out.
And it's one of those things where we know sometimes these memories stick with us, but sometimes it's hazy because we were very young when this happened. Do you remember who you were with the first time that you would watch Child's Play 2?
Yeah, it was with my parents. They used to watch horror movies all the time, and then like forget that I was there, so they would be like, "Yeah, she can watch this," and then I'm just in the corner like traumatized, like this is fine, like okay.
Rocking back and forth like in those old school shit. And it's one of those things where I've always said that I feel like if you are, if you watch horror movies at a young age, but you get the education to go along with it, you have, your parents teaching you the difference between fantasy and reality, fake and real. It really, I think that it grounds you in reality a little more because you know the difference between fantasy and reality. So just like everything else, as long as you have education to go along with it, I feel like it really can be beneficial. Now, Bree, Child's Play 2 is one of those movies that, as a child, is so scary and so effective. Do you remember which scene it was that affected you the most from Child's Play 2?
The one with the sewing machine.
Oh, the stepmom death.
Yeah.
Or the
Was,
adopted mom's death.
yeah.
See,
That
and
still
what I
sticks
love
with me even today. Like I just see that in my head constantly.
what I love about that is like when you're talking about the grand scope of that movie, that's probably one of the more tame deaths in the movie. I mean, you still got, Mrs. Kettlewell, you've been very naughty, Mrs. Kettlewell, and, beating her with the yardstick, or the extremely iconic.
How's it hanging, Phil?
That's another one that sticks with people a lot. But that sewing machine one is so scary because it has that buildup of just hearing the machine and not having any idea what's really going on. So we know that that's a scene that's very effective and it still affects you to this day. But what would you say, Bree, that your favorite scene is from Child's Play 2?
I want to say probably the ending, like when they're in the factory. That's definitely that's anxiety right there.
I mean, we were just talking about great deaths. My favorite death in all the Child's Play franchises there when you got the eyes coming down into the worker after he gets slashed, and that's a scene that scared me more than probably most movies ever. I don't know what it was, but just seeing that guy with the doll eyes in his face is just a scene that stuck with me so hard. So we know Child's Play is an ever expanding franchise. It has now gone to a TV show. It's gone through the remake treatment. In the Child's Play franchise, Bree, what would you say your favorite film of the franchise is?
I want to say the third one. I believe that's the military one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one.
I
feel like that one's a
mine
little
too.
underrated. People don't talk about it that much.
Well, I've always said that that's my favorite. There's just something that to me is when Chucky is the perfect mix of scary and funny. Like you have that perfect mix in there where he's doing his one-liners, he's being funny, but like the garbage truck kill when he kills the guy in the garbage truck, or like when he switches all the bullets and the guns, like that's scary shit, man. Like that's that's so much.
The part that always made me laugh was when the little kid accidentally opened the gift and Chucky jumped out at him. Like that was funny. It didn't need to be that funny.
Tampering with the mail is a federal offense. Yeah. I could watch that movie over and over again. So Bree, we know what your first horror movie was, being Child's Play 3 or Child's Play 2. I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on 3 now. And how that movie did affect you for a long time. But now I want to throw you a little bit of a curveball here for a second. My buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Bree? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
It would definitely have to be Trick or Treat.
Oh,
gotta go with that. I love Sam. Sam is just amazing.
Well, and we've heard for a long time that they were going to try to do the sequel treatment with that, and I would so much rather get a prequel, like a Sam origin story. Like I would love to know how Sam actually became Sam. That's something that I think we could have a really cool long story with. Now I didn't ask you, and I meant to. We talked about the Child's Play franchise a little bit, and Child's Play in 2019 did get the remake treatment. Did you see the 2019 Child's Play? And if you did, are you a fan of that film?
I liked it. I mean, I thought it was a lot better than people were making it out to seem. I watched it way too many times when it first came out.
I am 100% on your side. I've defended this movie. And people that watch this podcast a lot are probably like, okay, dude, we get it. But I think the only problem with this movie is the fact that it's called Child's Play. I think that's the biggest problem. If I was in charge there, because Don Mancini didn't want it to happen, a bunch of people didn't want it to happen. I personally would have called the movie Buddy Bear, or I'm sorry, Buddy from the World of Child's Play. And then you could have done, because they, even if the movie was super successful, they couldn't have done Child's Play 2 because they didn't own the rights to that name. So you could have done Buddy Bear from the World of Child's Play, or Blonde Buddy from the, whatever. You could have continued the story, and you could have still respected Don Mancini by not using the name Child's Play, which I feel is something that was super disrespectful to a guy that has spent his whole life building this franchise. And have you kept up on the Chucky TV series at all?
I got halfway through season 2. I haven't been able to catch up, unfortunately.
Okay. I will keep that spoiler free, but I will say in episode 7 of season 2, I like season 1 more personally, but episode 7 of season 2 has one of the most heartbreaking moments in the whole franchise. And it has a moment that it just, to me, is just like such a well acted, well crafted moment. And it's kind of a twist, but once you know what it is, the whole rest of the season makes a lot more sense. So you got to hit me up after you watch episode 7 so we can talk about it, because I would really like to know what you think about that. So, Bree, I seriously have had an amazing time talking about Child's Play with you, and I could talk about Child's Play for hours and hours and hours, but I know that you have things to do as well. So what we'll do is we'll end this with the same question I ask everybody at the end, and we're going to end it with a skull count. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be judging Child's Play not on acting, production, score, nothing like that. What we're doing is ranking Child's Play 2 just on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. Bree, what would your ranking of Child's Play 2 be?
Can I say 4.5?
Absolutely. I mean, and it still to this day has one of the coolest Chucky kills of all time. When he gets, the tube put in his mouth, when he's in all the wax and his head expands and explodes. I just fucking love that. And I might watch this movie tonight because it's just the perfect mixture. Like, this is, oh my God, it's so good. The relationship with Andy and Kyle is so good throughout this movie. They're not real siblings, but they really get that connection. Like when they're in the basement and she lets Andy smoke a cigarette for the first time, like there's just things like that stuck with me throughout this movie about how the relationship between siblings, even if they're adopted in a foster care, how she could take him under her wing and protect him. So, guys, we are at the end of the third act. The credits are about to roll and the curtain's about to drop. But before that happens, there are some links down here in the description that you need to click and follow. So make sure you're following Bree on social media so you can stay up to date on all the cosplays and all the content that she has coming up in the future. Bree, don't go anywhere. I have a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, as always, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.